The Zodiac killer terrorized the San Francisco Bay Area in the late 1960s and early 70s, leaving a trail of fear and confusion in his wake. The killer operated in a unique manner, taunting both law enforcement and the public through cryptic messages and ciphers sent to newspapers. Our story begins on December 20, 1968, when the first confirmed Zodiac attack occurred. The victims David and Betty Lou were shot dead while parked at Lover's Lane. On July 4, 1969, the killer shot Michael and Darlene in a parking lot. Darlene survived, but Michael was dead on the scene. Two more were stabbed in September, with one more shot dead in October. Over the next few years, the Zodiac killer would target random victims in different locations, claiming to have murdered 37 victims. Only 5 murders have been conclusively linked to the Zodiac. What made this case truly unique was the killer's correspondence with the media, sending letters boasting about his crimes and even including encrypted messages, one of which took years to crack, with the killer claiming that he was collecting his victims as slaves for the afterlife. Of the 4 ciphers, 2 remain unsolved and 1 was cracked only in 2020. The Zodiac killer's reign of terror appeared to come to an end in 1974 when the letters and killings abruptly ceased. This case has never been officially solved.
Heriberto Seda, aka the New York Zodiac Killer, was born in East New York. Seda attacked people throughout NYC in the early 90s, sending taunting messages to the police after each crime. The messages included codes based on maritime signal flags and Zodiac symbols. The killer's letters claimed that he was selecting victims based on their signs and would act only when specific stars were visible at night. Police considered the possibility that the Zodiac Killer may have relocated to the East Coast and resumed after 2 decades of inactivity. In '94, Seda was arrested for possession of a weapon. The weapon was not functional and all charges were dropped. He interpreted this as an omen, proving that he was beyond all consequences. At this point, Seda's shooting spree has killed at least 3 people and severely injuring 5 more. During a confrontation with his sister on June 18, 1996, Seda began threatening her. She escaped through the front door, but Seda shot her in the butt. She made her way to a neighbor, where she called the police. Authorities initially made no connection between his arrest and the string of murders. However, he closed his handwritten statement with a symbol resembling one written on the letters to the police. Seda was now a suspect. Matching fingerprints and DNA from the letters was enough to keep him arrested and face trial for his murders. He was convicted in '98 and sentenced to 232 years in prison.
Aileen Wuornos, known as the Damsel of Death, was born on February 29, 1956 in Rochester, Michigan. Her childhood was far from ideal. She experienced a tumultuous upbringing, characterized by abuse, neglect, and instability. Wuornos claimed to have been sexually abused by various individuals during her adolescence, which only added to her growing rage and desperation. Aileen's troubled past followed her into adulthood, leading her down a dark path. In the late 80s and early 90s, she embarked on a horrifying killing spree, targeting men along the highways of Florida. Wuornos would later admit to murdering 7 men, all of whom she claimed had assaulted or threatened her. Aileen was eventually apprehended in '91, bringing her reign of terror to an end. Her trial gained national attention, with many questioning her mental state and the impact of her troubled upbringing on her actions. Wuornos was found guilty and sentenced to death. She was executed by lethal injection on October 9, 2002.